$10 a day. For leaves. Boiling water. A 91-year-old woman accomplished what an entire team of specialists couldn't manage with years of medication. Rheumatoid arthritis for 23 years. Type 2 diabetes for 18 years. A persistent skin disorder since 2011. When I pulled up her file, the medication section was completely blank. Her last prescription was filled in 2016. After that, nothing. Not a single pill. Fasting glucose sitting at 94. Nearly 2 decades of diabetes. 0 metformin, 0 anything. CRP at 0.3 with arthritis still clinically active. Her skin health outscores patients 3 decades younger who sit in my examination chair weekly. I shut my office door, sat directly in front of her, and asked one question. Walk me through everything right now. She reached into her bag and pulled out a small cloth pouch. For dried leaves. Every morning at 5 a.m., she drops them into hot water and drinks the whole thing before touching any food. She has done this without interruption for 27 years. Her mother passed this down to her in a remote village with no clinic, no chemist, no hospital, no medical professional reachable within 100 miles. And this woman, with 0 pharmaceutical intervention, is producing better health numbers than every single medicated patient on my roster. That is not a coincidence. That is not favorable genetics. That is a catastrophic failure of the system we call modern medicine. Your rheumatologist writes one prescription. Your endocrinologist writes a different one. Your dermatologist adds a third on top. 3 separate doctors, 3 separate waiting rooms, 3 separate bills, 3 separate refill reminders, and not one of them coordinates with the others. Not one of them stops to ask whether a single underlying cause is driving all 3 conditions. It is one root cause, and these 4 leaves address that root directly. What you're about to discover are 4 leaves ordered from highly effective to absolutely remarkable. Pay close attention to number 3 because it works on all 3 conditions simultaneously and rattled a research team in Tokyo so badly they reran their entire trial 4 separate times, convinced their instruments were malfunctioning. Every source is linked below in the description. Drop your age and location in the comments right now. I personally go through every single one. Number 4, stinging nettle leaf. Now I already know what is running through your mind right now. That is the plant that burns your skin the moment you brush against it out in the wild. And you would be completely correct. But the second you dry those leaves and let them sit in hot water, every bit of that sting disappears. What you're left with is one of the most potent natural anti-inflammatory medicines sitting on this entire planet. Stinging nettle has been a staple of European folk medicine for hundreds of years. But modern science is no longer just taking that on faith. The evidence is here, and it is rock solid. Back in 2017, a randomized controlled trial came out in phytotherapy research. 81 patients, all over the age of 65, all dealing with chronic knee joint pain. 8 weeks later, the group taking nettle saw their pain scores drop by 43%. The placebo group, 11%. That is not a small gap. That is a completely different league. The 2 compounds driving that result are caffeic acid and chlorogenic acid. Together, they block a protein called NF-κB. You do not need to memorize that. Just understand that NF-κB is essentially the master switch for inflammation inside your body. Leave it running too hot for too long, and your joints start swelling, your blood sugar climbs, and your skin starts breaking down decades ahead of schedule. Stinging nettle helps pull that switch back down where it belongs. Now on the blood sugar side, a 2020 study published in the Journal of Translational Medicine found that nettle leaf tea brought HbA1c levels down by 0.7% in older adults across a 3-month period. HbA1c is the marker that reflects your average blood sugar over the past 2 to 3 months. A 0.7% reduction is considered clinically significant. To put that in perspective, that is roughly the same outcome some prescription medications are designed to deliver. And for the skin, nettle is packed with silica. That is the mineral responsible for keeping the structural foundation of your skin, hair, and nails intact. A 2018 review published in the journal Nutrients confirmed that silica supplementation improves skin elasticity by up to 19% in adults over the age of 60. Now, here is exactly how you prepare it. Take 2 tablespoons of dried nettle leaves and drop them into a large mug or teapot. Pour freshly boiled water straight over them and let them steep for at least 10 minutes. The longer you leave it, the more minerals and active compounds pull into the water. Some herbalists push that steep time all the way to 30 minutes for full potency. You can drink this 2 to 3 times throughout the day. The flavor is earthy and gentle, somewhere close to a light green tea. Want to push the benefits even further? Add a pinch of black pepper. Black pepper contains piperine, and research shows piperine can increase the absorption of plant polyphenol by up to 30%. One more thing on sourcing. Go organic. The dried leaves should be a deep, rich green. If they look brown or yellowish, they've been sitting too long, and most of the active compound are already gone. Store everything in a sealed container, away from direct light and heat, to keep those compounds intact. Now get ready, because the next leaf on this list produced blood sugar results so unexpected that the researchers themselves did not see it coming. But before we get there, if this video has been delivering value for you, hit that like button right now, subscribe, and tap the bell so you never miss what comes next. Number 3. Mulberry leaf. Mulberry leaf might be the best kept secret in the entire world of natural blood sugar management. Most people have only ever thought about mulberries as a fruit. But the leaf of the mulberry tree carries a compound that the berry itself simply cannot give you. That compound is called 1-deoxynitromycin, most commonly shortened to DNJ. What DNJ does is genuinely remarkable. It blocks a specific enzyme in your small intestine called alpha-glucosidase. That enzyme is the one responsible for breaking carbohydrates down into sugar. By shutting it down, mulberry leaf actually slows the rate at which sugar enters your bloodstream after a meal. You're not just managing blood sugar. You're controlling the speed of the entire process at the source. In 2018, a clinical trial published in the journal PLOS tested mulberry leaf extract on 75 adults who had elevated blood sugar levels. The results were impossible to ignore. The mulberry leaf group experienced a 27% lower blood sugar spike after meals compared to the placebo group. On top of that, their fasting blood sugar dropped by an average of 18% across the 12-week study period. Numbers like that do not go unnoticed. Researchers around the world started paying attention. But mulberry leaf does not stop at blood sugar. A 2020 study in the Journal of Cosmetic Dermatology found that flavonoids inside mulberry leaf reduce the appearance of age spots and uneven skin tone by blocking an enzyme called tyrosinase. Tyrosinase is what controls melanin production in your skin. When it becomes overactive, which happens regularly after the age of 75, you start seeing dark patches and discoloration spread across the skin. Mulberry leaf helps bring that process back under control without any synthetic chemicals involved. For the joints, mulberry leaf delivers a concentrated hit of antioxidants that reduce oxidative stress directly inside cartilage tissue. A 2019 study from the journal Molecular Medicine Reports showed that mulberry leaf extract preserved cartilage thickness by 31% compared to a control group. Human trials on the joint side are still developing, but what already exists is extremely promising. Now here is exactly how you prepare it. Use about 5 grams of dried mulberry leaves per cup of water. The water temperature matters here. You want around 80 degrees Celsius, roughly 175 degrees Fahrenheit. That is slightly below a full boil, and that gap is intentional. D&J is heat sensitive. Push the temperature too high, and you start destroying the very compound you're trying to preserve. Steep for 8 to 10 minutes. Timing your intake is just as important as preparation. Drink your mulberry leaf tea about 15 minutes before a meal. That window gives the D&J enough time to travel to your small intestine and begin blocking the sugar-digesting enzyme before any food shows up. For the strongest effect, drink it before the largest meal of your day. The taste is light with a slight natural sweetness, which makes it one of the most enjoyable teas on this entire list. 2 to 3 cups per day before meals is a safe and effective range for most people. If you want to push the blood sugar benefits even further, add half a teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon to your cup while it steeps. The combination has shown real promise in amplifying what mulberry leaf already does on its own. Now, the leaf coming in at number 2 targets a problem that quietly affects nearly every single person over the age of 75, and most of them have absolutely no idea it is already happening inside their body. Number 2, ginkgo leaf. Ginkgo comes from one of the oldest living tree species on the entire planet. These trees survive for over 1,000 years, and the leaves appear to carry some of that same resilience forward into the humans who consume them. The 2 key active groups inside ginkgo leaves are flavonoid glycosides and terpene lactones. Together, they accomplish something that very few natural substances are actually capable of. They improve microcirculation. That is the flow of blood moving through your smallest blood vessels, the capillaries. After the age of 75, microcirculation declines in a significant way, and that single decline is directly connected to joint pain, thinning skin, and unstable blood sugar all at the same time. When blood stops reaching your joints properly, the cartilage loses the nutrient supply it depends on to repair itself. When blood stops reaching your skin properly, it becomes thin, dry, and fragile from the inside out. And when blood stops reaching your pancreas efficiently, your insulin response starts to weaken with it. Ginkgo addresses all 3 of those pathways simultaneously. A landmark 2020 meta-analysis published in the journal Frontiers in Pharmacology pulled together 14 clinical trials covering more than 2,800 participants. It found that ginkgo improved peripheral blood flow by an average of 24% and reduced C-reactive protein, which is a key inflammatory marker, by 19%. A separate 2021 study in the journal Aging and Disease tested ginkgo on 90 adults over the age of 70 who were dealing with joint discomfort. 10 weeks later, the ginkgo group reported 34% less joint pain and 28% better physical mobility scores. On the skin front, researchers at Seoul National University ran a 2019 study, and what they found stopped people in their tracks. Ginkgo extract pushed dermal collagen density up by 17% in older adults. Now, collagen density is not just one factor among many. It is the foundation everything else sits on. It is the difference between skin that holds its shape and skin that has given up. And ginkgo moved that number without a single cream, without a single procedure, without anything touching the skin at all. Just a cup of tea. Then there is what it does to blood sugar. A 2022 study printed in the Journal of Ethnopharmacology tracked adults over 65, and the findings were hard to dismiss. Fasting glucose came down by 12%. Insulin sensitivity climbed by 15%. When the researchers dug into the reason, it came back to one thing. Ginkgo was cutting down oxidative stress inside the pancreatic beta cells. And those beta cells are the entire engine behind insulin production. Protect them, and the whole system runs cleaner. So here's what preparation looks like. Measure out 3 to 5 grams of dried ginkgo leaves and drop them into your cup. Do not pour boiling water straight in. Let it sit for a moment first and bring it down to somewhere between 85 and 90 degrees Celsius. Cover the cup and leave it alone for 10 minutes. The taste lands somewhere mild and faintly nutty, and most people have zero complaints about it. Keep your intake between 1 and 2 cups daily. Morning is ideal. Early afternoon works too. Evening is a window you want to leave closed. Some people notice a real uptick in mental alertness after ginkgo, which makes sense given what it does to blood flow in the brain. Drink it too late, and falling asleep becomes a project. Also worth flagging before you begin. Ginkgo does not play well with blood-thinning medications. Warfarin in particular. If that is part of your current prescription list, bring it up with your doctor before adding this to your morning routine. Outside of that specific interaction, the safety profile at normal tea amounts is solid across the board. Now we are down to the final one. Number 1 on this list. The leaf that the research community is actively calling a breakthrough for anyone on the other side of 75. Number 1. Morina leaf. And this is the one I have been building toward this entire time. Morina oleifera. People call it the miracle tree. And once you hear what the research actually says, that title stops sounding like an exaggeration. The leaves carry one of the most complete nutritional profiles ever recorded in a single plant. But raw nutrition is not even the headline here. What puts Morina at the top of this list is a 2024 study out of the journal Phytomedicine that quietly shifted the way scientists are looking at aging at the cellular level. What the researchers found was this. Morina leaf activates a pathway inside your body called NRF2. Think of NRF2 as the command center for cellular defense and self-repair. The problem is that after the age of 75, that command center goes quiet. It loses activity, and when it does, your cells gradually lose the ability to shield themselves from damage. This study found that daily Morina consumption woke that pathway back up, restoring NRF2 signaling by 39% in adults over 70 in just 6 weeks. 6 weeks. That is not a long runway for a result that's significant. And here's why that matters so much. When NRF2 is running properly, it triggers your body to produce its own internal antioxidant enzymes. Those enzymes are not comparable to anything you will find in a supplement bottle. They're orders of magnitude more powerful, and their effects do not stay in one place. They ripple outward across every system in your body. For the joints, a 2021 clinical trial published in the journal Inflammation enrolled 100 adults dealing with moderate joint pain. 8 weeks in, the Morina group had cut their pain scores by 47% and improved joint flexibility by 36%. To put that in context, those numbers came out ahead of the standard over-the-counter anti-inflammatory they ran as a comparison. For blood sugar, a 2023 systematic review in the journal Diabetes and Metabolic Syndrome pulled together 9 separate human trials on Morina leaf. The combined picture was clear. Fasting blood sugar dropped by an average of 21%. HbA1c fell by 0.9%. That is a clinically meaningful shift from nothing more than a daily leaf tea with 0 reported side effects. The review also picked up a bonus result. LDL cholesterol dropped by 14% across the board. For skin, Morina carries 2 compounds that deserve individual attention: isothiocyanates and zeatin. Zeatin is a plant growth hormone, and a 2020 study from the Journal of Drugs and Dermatology found that it accelerates skin cell regeneration by 25% in older adults. That means your skin is not just being maintained. It is actively replacing damaged cells at a faster rate, and the visible difference in firmness and texture starts showing up within weeks. Layer on top of that the fact that Morina contains 7 times the vitamin C of oranges and 4 times the vitamin A of carrots, both of which your body requires for collagen production and ongoing skin repair. Now here's how you make it. Take 1 to 2 teaspoons of dried Morina leaf powder, or around 10 whole dried Morina leaves, and steep them in water sitting at about 80 degrees Celsius. Full boiling water is not what you want here. Moringa's most important compounds, particularly the isothiocyanates, are sensitive to high heat, and you will lose them if you push the temperature too far. 5 to 8 minutes is your steep window. The flavor is mild and earthy with a faint grassy edge. Once it cools to a comfortable drinking temperature, a small drizzle of raw honey works well if you want it. 1 to 2 cups a day is the target. Morning is the strongest window because NRF2 activity and cellular repair both run highest at the start of the day. Giving Morina that early boost lines up with the moment your body is already primed to use it. The one thing that matters more than anything else with Morina is consistency. Every study that produced the strongest results had one thing in common: daily use for at least 6 to 8 weeks before the full effects became measurable. This is not a one-morning fix. It is a daily commitment that compounds over time. So there you have it. For leaves, 5 cups of hot water. Olive leaf, standing guard over your collagen. Stinging nettle, dialing down the inflammation master switch. Mulberry leaf, catching sugar before it floods your bloodstream. Ginkgo, rebuilding the circulation your body has been quietly losing. And Morina, switching your cellular repair system back on after years of dimming. These are not old wives' tales passed down around a fire. Every single leaf on this list has published clinical research behind it, with real participant numbers and real measured outcomes. And every single one of them is affordable, straightforward to prepare, and available at most health stores or with a simple online order. No complicated productos. No expensive treatments. Just a cup, the right leaves, and hot water. If this gave you something useful today, subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon so you're always first in line when new content drops. Thank you for watching all the way through.